I think we can put the chalice. Maybe we put all of. Could we put all of the fire here and the kids there, or do you want the kids here?
I don't care where the kids are.
Oh. We should probably do that, maybe.
Okay.
You do whatever you want to do.
What I was starting to tell you before
Sorry
is
about running out.
no,
yeah.
no, no. It was I was thinking of trying to set it up from camera point of view.
Oh.
Because
yeah.
it's nice to have this and see the chalice.
Yes. And maybe if we keep all of our fire, maybe it'll be easier to do that.
Put it up higher.
Yeah. Is that straight? Sometimes I put it on a little.
So where do you want me? Over here? Kids over here. All right.
All right.
Are you talking to me? Nope. No, I don't. Yep. Yep.
I have an obligation at 11:30. No, I thought.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
our DRE person. She filled up the food pantry and she was putting, going down the lift and the lift had fallen down. So she's looking this way instead of this way. It's been 3 months since she's fixed
The lift has been repaired. How sucks.
For coffee also.
They got a big space. It's nice they're using it for.
It's beautiful and
Yeah, making the most of it. Yeah, that's so fantastic.
Run to the bathroom, but go ahead and start.
I'll wait a minute yet. Oh, Ruth.
I know, you gotta contact me.
I'm gonna get the trays from Danny's Meats. I was over there
Oh,
in the
okay.
garage yesterday, and I'm gonna go order them tomorrow. I'm gonna get a couple of vegetable trays and a fruit tray. I think they have a meat and cheese thing too. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna get them there. 'Cause
So my job will just be to see they get out
yes, that's right. Exactly.
and they keep out.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
Every time I see him, he has a new idea.
Well,
We're sticking to this one.
We're sticking with it. I think it's time to get started. Did she make an entrance? There we go.
good morning. I'm Gregory Mason, and welcome to First Presbyterian Church for Olympia Brown Unitarian Universalist Church service. Before we get started, I have some announcements to share. If you haven't already, please pick up a hymnal and an order of service. For those watching on YouTube, you can access the order of service in today's email where it says, click here for order of service. Thank you to Brana Woolman, Sandy Berezowitz, and Rachel Trobaugh for providing coffee hour today. And it's not too early to volunteer for August 20th. Let me know. We will not be meeting here in the sanctuary next week. We will be meeting at Myers Park by the pavilion for our animal blessing service. Fall camp will be September 29th to October 1st at Camp Edwards. See Friday's email for all the details. Please also see Friday's email for an excerpt of a post Linda Weatherby made regarding our Love Food Pantry and her encounter with a young boy. To former and current choir members who still have choir folders and music, Diana Pavao would very much appreciate it if you could get them to her either in church or at her home. Her details are in the directory. For more information and details about these announcements, along with others and community announcements, please see your weekly emails. Please join us for coffee hour in Erman Hall following the service. For those joining us on YouTube, please log into Zoom after the service for Joys and Concerns along with coffee hour. The link is in today's email.
Test, test. She calls out to the man on the street, "Sir, can you help me? It's cold and I've nowhere to sleep. Is there somewhere you can tell me?" He walks on, doesn't look back. He pretends he can't hear her, starts to whistle as he crosses the street, seems embarrassed to be there. Oh, think twice, 'cause it's another day for you and me in paradise. Oh, think twice, 'cause it's another day for you and me in paradise. Think about it. She calls out to the man on the street. He can see she's been crying. She's got blisters on the soles of her feet. She can't walk, but she's trying. Oh, think twice, 'cause it's another day for you and me in paradise. Oh, think twice, 'cause it's another day for you and me in paradise. Just think about it. Oh no, is there nothing or anybody can do? Oh no, must be something you can say. You can tell from the lines on her face. You can see that she's been there, probably been moved on from every place, 'cause she didn't fit in there. Oh, think twice, 'cause it's another day for you and me in paradise. Oh, think twice, 'cause it's another day for you and me in paradise.
Good morning. Welcome to Olympia Brown Unitarian Universalist Church. I am the Reverend Danielle Lindstrom. My pronouns are she, hers, and it is good to be together. He's okay. Let's start with just a big, deep breath. Let's just take a big, deep breath and arrive. Okay, take a big breath. Welcome, friends. New friends, old friends, our youngest friends, our online friends, welcome. I share these words from our congregation in Boulder and all the beauty of languages, cultures, skin tones, shapes, and sizes that come together in your uniqueness. You are welcome here. In all the ways you experience and express gender, you are welcome here. In the beauty that is who you love and how you love, you are welcome here. No matter how long you are away, nor how soon you will return, you are welcome here. Please do not leave your joys, sorrows, pieces of your identity at the door. You are invited to bring all of it in with you, for this is one of the promises of our faith tradition. All of who we are is welcome in our shared sacred space. Welcome. It is good to be together. This morning, we're going to be continuing our conversation about General Assembly, which was the international gathering of Unitarian Universalists, the work of our association. With support from our endowment fund grants, we were able to send 5 delegates to Pittsburgh. Our co-board presidents, Carl Hubbard, Corey Mason, board member Kayla Matz, chair of Social Justice Committee Diane Lang, co-chair of 8th Principal Roseanne Mason. Corey and Roseanne will be sharing a bit of their experience with us this morning. We will hear from more delegates later in the month. And can we just do a really big thank you to our fabulous musicians this morning? Lisa Friedrich and Doug Klum, yay! And a big welcome to our music director, Brian, who is learning and doing tech for us this morning, yay! We will begin our service with shared ritual, with lighting our chalice. And who is lighting our chalice? Cody is lighting our chalice this morning. Our reading is one of my favorites, We Meet on Holy Ground, by Richard Gilbert. We meet on holy ground, brought into being as life encounters life, as personal histories merge into communal story, as we take on the pride and pain of our companions. We separate selves become community. How desperate is our need for one another, our silent beckoning to our neighbors, our invitations to share life and death together, our welcome into the lives of those we meet and their welcome into our own. May our souls capture this treasured time. May our spirits celebrate our meeting in this time and in this space, for we meet on holy ground. I invite you to rise in body and in spirit to join in singing our first hymn, Where You Go, I Will Go. The lyrics are in the order of service.
And now it's time for the message for all ages. So if all the children and those young at heart can come on forward. So how many of you know who Bluey is? Not all of you, not very many of you actually. Do all the kids know who Bluey is? No, Kaylin, you don't know who Bluey is? Do you know who Bluey is, Delilah? Oh, great. So Bluey, if you see this right here, Bluey is a cartoon that came out during the pandemic. It's an Australian cartoon. And the interesting thing I find here is the dogs that they are, is they're blue heelers from Australia, so they named Bluey from the blue heelers. And their last name is Heelers. It's a kind of dog in Australia. And during the pandemic, it's on Disney Plus right now. It's in Australia. It became incredibly popular. And it's basically about just a normal family. The dad works from home, and the mom goes out. She's security at an airport, so she works at the airport. And it's kind of about families and how mistakes are made and how it's just a really happy family. And even it's about parenting even. It's even about sometimes parents get tired and don't want to do that and need a timeout. That happens in Bluey. So it's an absolutely fantastic cartoon. So during this entire year, when the children are going to be doing a Bluey curriculum that I wrote, we are going to be, I had this time at home these past couple months. And so we are going to be doing a Bluey curriculum throughout the entire year when we're not doing world religions and multi-generational services and all that kind of stuff. We're going to be learning with Bluey. And Bluey teaches stuff like diversity, patience, talking with other people, all these great social skills. That's what it teaches. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be playing a lot of games because Bluey plays a lot of games. So I wanted to introduce you to Bluey and the Heeler family. We have Dad is the tall blue one. Let's see. I think if we go to the next screen, we can tell you. So the one that's saying wackadoo right there, that's Mom. And the one that's saying let's do this, that's Dad. And then Bluey is the blue one, and they're two girls. Bluey's sister is Bingo, and she's the brown one. So meet the Heelers. There's Mom and Dad, and Mom is known as Chili, and Dad is Bandit, and there's Bluey and Bingo. Together, they have lots of fun. The fun begins in the morning. It's never too early to play a trick on Dad. So Bingo is saying, "Oh, lovely. It's a lovely morning, isn't it?" And Bluey says, "I wish Dad was here to enjoy it." And Dad says, "I'm right here." And then they also sometimes ask him for a wagon ride. The Heelers enjoy playing all sorts of games. There are inside games like hospitals will have to operate, and outside games like Rug Island, Banana Attack, and a lot of this stuff like Rug Island we might be playing during the year. One thing that the kids are going to be playing today, other games like Feather Wand can be played anywhere. So today they're going to be playing Feather Wand. And Feather Wand is really about everybody being included and how sometimes not everybody gets to play the game. So that's what they're going to be playing today. Sometimes the Heeler's house can be so much more than just a home. It can be a hairdresser salon. He's got knits. Do you know what knits are? We don't call them knits here. Lice. And of course they're dogs, so they could have fleas too, right? Or they play on a train line. All aboard the express train. It's also a great place to put on a show. Bluey and Bingo love to imagine with their parents what their parents were like before they had kids. And they sometimes think, oh, Dad would say, "Oh, marry me, babe." And she says, "Why should I?" Sometimes Mom goes to work at airport security while Dad works from home. Well, he tries to work because the kids, the Bingo and Bluey, are always wanting him to play games. After a long day of work, school, and play, the Heelers always sit down to have dinner together, which is a lot like most families. We always had dinner together, Kira and Connor and their dad and I. Surprising things can happen at dinner time, especially when magic asparagus is on the menu. Here, chonk, chonk, chonk. On special nights, the wheelie bins go out Do you know what the wheelie bin is? Again, that's another Australian word. Garbage can, yeah. The wheelie bins go out. Bluey and Bingo like to help Dad with the rubbish. And they pretend that the wheelie bins are eating the garbage. So they're going, spring rolls, yum, 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 yum. Hey, man, what about me? Just cardboard tonight, yellow bin. Every now and then, Bluey and Bingo have to do things they don't want to do, like brush their teeth or get out of the bath. And Mom comes in, look, Dad's in the bath with them. And Mom comes in and says, that's it, I am pulling the plug. But they know there's always time for one last game. Can we play hedgehogs? Bluey and Bingo with their messy hair after a bath. Bedtime at the Healers means story time and being tucked in tight. It means dreamy adventures and waking up to a brand new day. So this year, we're going to be learning with Bluey, which Reverend Danielle is really excited about.
Yes, she is. Very excited.
Reverend Danielle has actually gotten me to watch more of the Bluey episodes than I actually watched to write the curriculum because she loves it so much. So I thought, well, I need to learn what's so great about it. And if you have Disney Plus and you have grandchildren, you can watch Bluey. It's fabulous. You should really try it. I watch it, just Kieran Connor, and I just watch it, so it's pretty good. So now it's time for the children's blessing.
To nurture the spark of your precious life, we as you go. There are many ways we give to the life of our church, and the monetary offering is just one of these ways. Each month, we partner with a local organization that is doing incredible work in our community and share the money that we gather. Our partner for August is Focus on Community, and Jason Meekma is here to tell us more about that work. So welcome, Jason.
Thank you. And just a quick pitch, I love Bluey. If you haven't watched it, please check it out. It's fun for all ages. And I think it does really speak to the entire family experience and not just for kids. So, all right, now I only have 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to speak. So I'm Jason Meekma. I'm the executive director of Focus on Community. We are a local nonprofit here that focuses on substance abuse prevention. But the majority of that is spent working with young people in the schools. We work with kids all the way from 5th grade through high school in helping them develop really important things like life skills, like how to make friends, how to have conversations, how to help others and be giving and be inclusive. It's all about skill development. We were created back in 1980, and we've been here for just over almost 45 years now, 43, heading on to 44 years now. And we've been able to reach thousands and thousands of the kids. We see every 5th, 6th, and 7th grader throughout the entire Racine Unified School District, and just get to hang out in the day in the classroom. In the evenings, we get to do family programming with their families, because whatever we say in the classroom during the day, if they go home and get a different message, then that's where their foundation is going to be formed. So we work with the families too, trying to create a holistic approach to helping young people just be good people, avoid risky behavior, which sometimes includes drugs and alcohol, and live long, healthy, happy lives. It's all about prevention. It's all about getting to kids while they're young and still have the big decisions ahead of them so they can navigate all of that and be amazing people contributing to our community and just enjoying the lives that they've been given. We are honored to be here speaking to you all today. This is really exciting, and just thank you so much for considering us as you go through the rest of this month. And I don't know, I think I'm trying to be as concise as I can. So thank you again so much for letting me be here today, and enjoy the rest of your day, your week, the month of August, the rest of the year, whatever else is to come. So thank you so much.
I've been happy lately, thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world as one, and I believe it could be someday it's going to come. 'Cause out on the edge of darkness there lies the peace train. Oh, peace train, take this country, come take me home again. I've been smiling lately, thinking about the good things to come, and I believe it could be something good has begun. Oh, peace train sounding louder, ride on the peace train. Train, holy roller, everyone jump on the peace train. Come on the peace train. Get your bags together, come bring your good friends too, 'cause it's getting nearer, soon it will all with you. Come and join the living, it's not so far from you, and it's getting nearer, soon it will all be true. Oh, peace train sounding louder, ride on the peace train. Ooh, come on the peace train. I've been crying lately, thinking about the world as it is. Why must we go on hating? Why can't we live in bliss? Out on the edge of darkness, there lies the peace train. Peace train, take this country, come take me home again.
Is sharing our lives with one another. During worship, we set aside special time for holding each other in love, and this morning I want to try something a little different. Hey, we're going to experiment a little bit. So in just a moment, if you would like to come forward and light a candle for whatever is on your heart, you are invited to come forward and light a candle. If you would like to share or joy or a sorrow out loud, I invite you to come forward to the pulpit to share, or raise your hand and we can bring a microphone to you. If you do share, we ask that you say your name, pronouns if you are comfortable, and to be brief in our sharing so there is space for all. Or if you would like to sit in shared quiet, listening to the breaths of those around you, the coughs and the wrestling in the pews, your own silent meditation, or time to pray or dream, you are invited to just be. So we're going to try all three. If you'd like to come forward and light a candle, you can come forward and light a candle, share, or just be in this shared quiet space. I will open this space for meditation and breath and story with these words from Jess Reynolds. Every meditation I have ever done begins by asking me to ground myself. This is not so much an action as it is an inaction, a voluntary abandonment of my own edges and tidy packaging. Sit with me now. Press the soles of your feet back into the ground you sprang from. Feel the weight of your body and know that it is glorious. You are born of soil and of sun, and all of the heaviness of the earth is a call to you. The earth is reaching for you. Reach back, reach back. You are invited forward to share, to light a candle, or to take a moment to just be. Let's light one more candle for the joys and sorrows that are on our hearts, that are on the hearts of our beloveds joining us on YouTube this morning. Jess Reynolds continues their meditation, and says, "On my worst days, it is gravity that I am most grateful for. The way the earth pulls at me from her very core, yearns for me, keeps me pressed tightly against her surface. When my own core is hollowed out, when I have no more mass than a leaf dead on a branch, still this is enough for the earth to find me. She reaches for what little I have and says, 'Stay.' You are born of soil and of sun, and all of the heaviness of the earth is a call to you. The earth is reaching for you. Reach back." I invite you to join in singing our sung response, "There is a love holding me, there is a love holding us." We're going to sing, "There is a love holding me" all the way through, and then "There is a love holding us" all the way through.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Okay, I want to make sure you were awake to listen to me. My name is Roseanne Mason. I use the she, her pronouns. I also identify as white, working hard to dismantle white supremacy. I had never attended General Assembly before this year. I didn't really know what to expect, but I do remember Diana Pavao always talking about what a great experience it was and how important it is for OBUUC to send a delegation every year. I attended General Assembly as co-chair of the 8th Principal Committee. In early 2021, the 8th Principal Task Force at that time spent many hours via Zoom during COVID studying and planning for presenting the 8th Principle to our congregation, which was adopted in September 2021 after Reverend Danielle joined us as our settled minister. Since passage of the 8th Principle, I and some other members of the 8th Principal Committee have attended monthly Zoom meetings of the UUA 8th Principal Learning Community facilitated by Paula Cole-Jones to learn more about ways to implement the 8th Principle at OBUUC. Initially, we were told that there would be a vote to adopt the 8th Principle at the 2023 General Assembly and a follow-up vote at the 2024 General Assembly. So I was a little surprised and confused when the 8th Principal Learning Community started talking about the passage of Article 2 in lieu of passing the 8th Principle. The focus of Article 2, Purposes and Covenant, is on values with love at the center, surrounded by pluralism, interdependence, evolution, generosity, justice, and equity. The 8th Principle had been subsumed into the values and covenant. During our spring meetings here, the 8th Principal Committee talked at length about this change. We all struggled a little with the idea of love at the center. Unlike our principles, which explicitly states our values, love seemed like it was just a word. Since many of us on the 8th Principle are baby boomers, some of us were reminded of the days of hippie love and thought of it as simple and trite. We thought it was easy to tell someone you love them, but how did that really change anything? The 3-page document that subsumes the 8 principles, it's not something that can easily be written on a card and passed out. We were told that the principles are not being eliminated, just presented in this new format. Once at General Assembly in Pittsburgh, a member of the UUA's 8th Principal Learning Community wrote a lengthy post on Facebook that he had decided not to vote for Article 2, mainly because, he wrote, the principles have served as a succinct, clear, relatively brief, and compelling way for UUs to tell ourselves and the outside world who we aspire to be as UUs and the perspective from which we intend to engage the work we believe in. This argument resonated with me and some of the rest of the committee, and I shared it with the other OBUUC delegates. I also shared the Facebook response from Paula Cole-Jones. She said, people who are strongly in favor of the 8th Principle and those who do not or cannot get behind the 8th Principle will accomplish the same thing for completely opposite reasons. A no vote this year for Article 2 proposed changes strengthen those who do not want the 8th Principle at all. She also said, not enough UUs have done enough work to transform our principles, congregations, or our movement into what the 8th Principle is calling us to do. We are watching ourselves grow or struggle with growth in real time. There was a lot to think about before the vote to adopt Article 2. I had spent many UUA 8th Principle Learning Community meetings listening to Paula Cole-Jones sharing how transformative the 8th Principle could be to our spiritual lives and to creating the beloved community. I trust her because I know for years she has done the work to make sure that we as UUs make the necessary changes to dismantle white supremacy and are held accountable if we do not. Yet I had some of the same hesitations that the 8th Principal Learning Community member had stated on Facebook, and I knew that our own 8th Principal Committee members shared these concerns about Article 2. So what to do? What helped me make my decision to vote for Article 2 was the failed vote for complete divestment from the fossil fuel industry. When I read the resolution, I thought it was a no-brainer. but the vote failed 60 to 40%. I was really in disbelief. I don't know much about the stock market, and I know there are probably economic reasons for not divesting. I also know that our planet is literally burning up. What happened next was very powerful. A group of young adult UUs got up and staged a passionate protest, holding signs about the need for divestment from fossil fuels, about the need for climate justice. Outgoing UUA President Susan Frederick Gray and incoming President Sophia Betancourt later wrote a response addressing the protest, acknowledging that the protest was rooted in recurring cycles of distrust between the UUA and our youth and young adults. The vote against divestment felt like injustice against our principles. If our principles are not enough to prevent an outcome like this vote against divestment in fossil fuels, maybe our principles aren't doing all we need them to do. Maybe they, too, are just words. I realize that in 15 years, in 2038, when Article 2 is reviewed again, it's possible I won't be here. Those young people who protested for their lives and the lives of my grandchildren will be here. They took action that day. Action needs to be integral to all we do if we are to create the beloved community. The point is, whether we have principles or values or both, we need to act on them. The 8th principle, as integrated into Article 2, has the potential to hold us accountable for our actions. I know that this transformation from where we are now to including the language of accountability in Article 2 will take time. And I still don't know if the word love and its accompanying values will compel us to act for justice. Our principles are still here. I did vote for Article 2, and it passed by 86%. It will be voted on again next year at General Assembly. Incorporating those values into radical action is the work of our UU faith. So with that faith in the UU commitment to love, I hope you will consider what it means to engage in radical love. The 8th Principle Committee is committed to providing you with many opportunities to do just that in the days ahead. Thank you.
There's a slight height difference between our partnership. My name is Corey Mason. My pronouns are he and him. And this was also my first time at UU General Assembly. I wasn't sure what to expect, despite Diana's help of trying to explain it. Being in a room with probably 1,500 or so fellow UUs and seeing representatives from all over North America was incredibly inspiring. Many friendly and open people gave me a real sense of belonging to something much bigger than just the Racine community. As we got down to business, there were nominations for offices. We now have a new president, as Roseanne mentioned. There were proposals and amendments for new and existing work underway, most notably Article 2. Conversations really became centered around love. And at first, I was confused. The 1984 song by Tina Turner was ringing in my ears, and that's the song where she belts out, "What's love got to do with it?" Okay. And I was aware that the world's major religions have all weighed in on love. In the Jewish faith, from the Torah, Leviticus 19, love your neighbor as you love yourself. From the Quran, you will not enter paradise until you believe, and you will not believe until you love one another. From the Tao Te Ching, chapter 49, love means having concern for others instead of being concerned for oneself. And love in Hinduism is a sacrament. It preaches that one gives up selfishness in love, not expecting anything in return. And from the Christian tradition that I grew up in, John 13, as I have loved you, so must you love one another. And Paul admonishing in Corinthians 13, love is patient, love is kind, it does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, and so on. And it concludes with, if I speak in the tongues of men and angels, but have not love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. So good news. We as a species have nailed love. Kumbaya! But not so in our actual behavior to each other. Our capacity for cruelty seems to be without limits. We seem to be more of a noisy gong with each other rather than to really love each other. And then as I participated in the General Assembly, I opened my eyes, and yes, my heart. I could see firsthand what we as UUs profess and what makes us different. It started with the speaker introductions. Not only did all speakers identify their pronouns for gender inclusiveness, but they also added a description of their physical appearance. The first time somebody said, I'm wearing a blue blazer and I've got gray hair, I was like, what? Okay. They were trying to be inclusive of the sight impaired. And didn't make a big deal about it, but they just put it in there with it. The sessions addressed topics providing a means of action, ranging from the environment to dismantling racism. For the duration of the conference, a floor area was set up with displays and booths to connect with the delegates. It was interesting to walk the floor and get ideas and connections. On the last day, we bumped into Paula Cole-Jones on the exhibitor floor and had a 30-minute impromptu discussion about her work and what we can do in helping spreading our message. The services were moving, with toe-tapping energy, spiritually uplifting, and even during the sessions, there was a real example of our beliefs in action. That motion to divest the UU investments from fossil fuels that Roseanne was speaking about was a real reflection of our values, and it had failed. By the way, I did vote to divest, okay? Later that day at the General Assembly, there was that demonstration that Roseanne talked about. So the General Assembly concluded on the last day with the installation of our new president, Reverend Dr. Sophia Bendecourt. That process was really rich. It emphasized our history, our UU history, and it was very somber. When we all extended our hands to the front of the stage, virtually laying hands on Sophia, it really gave me goosebumps. It was really moving. To me, it felt like everyone in the room and up on the stage had a real sense of the work before us and the commitment to do our best for each other. And that brings me back to what I gained from attending. You know, it's just not enough to talk a good game about love. Sitting in a pew and saying amen to Scripture about love, but not practicing it outside the service, is truly just being a noisy gong. And nowhere could I find a religious command to only love people who look or think like me. Over 2,000 years ago, Rabbi Jesus was trying to get that point across with the parable of the Good Samaritan. It clearly has not sunk in. I'm proud to be a UU, for we are rooted in putting love into action. Whether it's our Social Justice Committee, our Eighth Principle Committee, our Food Pantry, our Green Sanctuary, our support of an asylum family, etc., etc. To paraphrase John Lewis, we really embrace getting into good trouble. And to me, it's very clear. Our core as UUs is love, and our practice is to revolve around love by declaring for what we stand for and backing it up with love in action. What I took away from General Assembly is the work on Article 2 is fundamental to who we are and what we stand for. As UUs, we really do covenant to put love into action. As that great philosopher of the 20th century, John Lennon, said perfectly in 1967, all you need is love, ya-da-da-da-da. All you need is love, love. Love is all you need in action. Thank you very much.
Have all met the healers. I'm going to share a story of the yes/no button. So we met Bandit, the dad. He ate Bingo's last French fry. If you have a toddler at home, or you are aware of a toddler, you know you never eat the last of something, right? To make it up to her, her dad offered her 3 dance modes. That meant at any time, Bingo could hit the tails of her parents and they would have to stop what they are doing and dance. First, they start walking across the street and they hear a car playing music. And Dad begs Bingo, please, can I use your dance mode on Mom? And Bingo says, okay. So Dad uses a dance mode, and the mom has to dance across the street in front of all of the traffic. To get Dad back, Mom asks Bingo, can I use your dance mode on Dad? Fine, Bingo says, and Dad finds himself dancing in the middle of a store. Bingo finally finds her moment to use, this is the last dance mode. She finds her moment. The perfect opportunity, a musician on the sidewalk, a huge crowd gathered. Bingo goes to hit her parents' tails, and her dad says, nope, I will buy your last dance mode. Here's $20. $20 to buy that dance mode rather than risk being embarrassed in front of their town. Bluey gets really excited and says, with $20, we can buy a yes-no button. Okay, says Bingo. A yes-no button is a button about yay big, and you press the yes button and it says, yes. You press the no button and it says, no. When they finally get back to the car, Bingo is very clearly upset while Bluey is having so much fun pressing yes, no, yes. Mom asks Bingo, are you upset because we keep taking things that belong to you? Bingo uses the button to say yes. But we asked. Bluey says, we asked you, we all did, we all asked. Bingo, does sometimes your inside voice say no, but your outside voice says yes? Bingo hits the yes button. Oh, like this, says Bluey as she hits both buttons at the same time. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. When I arrived at General Assembly, I had my yeses and my nos pretty clear. I was curious about how the discussions would go. I told myself, stay open, listen. I was pretty sure I knew what I was going to do. Until the business resolution that both Corey and Roseanne shared. This was a business resolution put in front of the delegates for complete divestment of UUA endowment funds from the fossil fuel industry with reparations to the communities that had been harmed. My time had been focused on that article too, that we've been talking quite a bit about, our principles, our purposes, our values, what this meant for our association. I hadn't considered this business resolution that was brought to the assembly by the youth and young adult groups, by the youth and young adult caucuses. During the discussion time, the youth and the young adults shared their stories of being taught to fight for climate justice. Right? They were taught that that's their fight, and they feel that, they know that. And then the crisis of identity, to know their faith benefited financially from the industry. Then we heard recommendations from UUA staff and board members about the financial ramifications of this resolution. In my stomach, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. We have our faith, our principles, our values, our covenants for moments just like this, when we aren't sure which direction to go, what to do, what's the right thing. This was the invitation in the theme of General Assembly this year, the theme, faithfully becoming, with programming that would, quote, focus on becoming adaptive and resilient, theologically rooted, skilled in faithful practice, and connected in community. We have been called to be adaptive and resilient. I am so inspired by our UU congregation in Texas, the one that we wrote cards to last week, that we sent a donation to right after the attack on their church. They shared on their website, "We are still here. We are still here," drawing on our resiliency and our resolve to hold out hope for ourselves and this world. To hold out hope. They didn't miss one Sunday service. Our congregations, especially in the South, are receiving threats to their churches, threats to their ministers for holding pride events, for supporting drag story hours. Here in Racine, the pride events are protested. The drag story hour was protested, and many of you showed up, living into the truth that the love we proclaim is stronger than this fear. We have the chance to work for equal voting rights. There is already a lawsuit about the gerrymandered maps of Wisconsin. This is very exciting. Right? For reproductive justice, to use our voices to make sure that books that mirror the lives of our children, of our families, of ourselves, that they stay on our library shelves, that they stay in our school districts. There's a lot of work to do on the side of love, and we aren't doing this work alone. We are building our relationship with UU siblings in Kenosha, and we are building relationships here at First Presbyterian, and we are recommitting to our long-established relationships, the LGBT Center and the Racine Interfaith Coalition, Voces de la Frontera, so many organizations in Racine. How does our faith call us to love, which is itself a call to action? We are going to be called into yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no moments as individuals, as a church, as a denomination. We are going to be and have been invited to be brave and to risk and to hope and to fail and to have our hearts broken and to keep going, just as we have done as a church for 181-ish years. When it came time to vote on the business resolution, I voted no. A mixture of fear for and love for the institution decided my vote. It's still a yes, no, yes, no, yes, no feeling. And I am so proud of our delegates who listened to the call and the principles and values to make this decision that felt so much the prophetic voice and the institutional voice. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. At the end of the episode of Bluey, they all make it up to bingo by going back to the musician, with the crowd gathered around listening to the music, and together all four of them go into dance mode. And they dance, and they dance, and they dance, and they dance. We are called to be adaptive and resilient and theologically rooted, skilled in faithful practice, and most importantly, connected in community that need not think alike to love alike, to show Racine and southeastern Wisconsin and beyond what love in action looks like. There is much to be done. There is a lot to be afraid of. Sometimes hope feels impossible to find. So I ask you this question. May we ask this question to one another. Through the good times and the bad times too, may I have this dance with you. Amen and blessed be. I invite you to rise in body and spirit, join in singing hymn 311, Let It Be a Dance. Thank you. You may be seated. We extinguish our chalice, but not the light of this community. That light cannot be extinguished, for it lives in each of us, reminding us we are connected, held always in a larger love. Our benediction, these words from Anais Nin: we do not grow absolutely, chronologically. We grow sometimes in one dimension and not in another, unevenly. We grow partially. We are relative. We mature in one realm, childish in another. The past, present, and future mingle and pull us backward, forward, fix us in the present. We are made of layers, cells, constellations. Let it be a dance we do. Our worship is over. Our service begins. Go forth sharing this love until we return again. Amen.
In the middle of the night, I go walking in my sleep. From the mountains of faith, to a river so deep, I must be looking for something, something sacred I've lost. But the river is wide, and it's too hard to cross. And even though I know the river river is wide. I walk down every night and I stand on the shore. I try to cross to the opposite side so I can finally find what I've been looking for. In the middle of the night,
In the middle of the night,
I go walking in my sleep.
I go walking in my sleep.
Through the valley of fear.
Through the valley of fear.
To a river so deep.
To the river so deep.
And I've been searching for something.
And I've been searching for something.
Taken out of my soul.
Taken out of my soul.
Something somebody stole. Something somebody lost.
Something somebody stole.
I don't know why I go walking at night, but I'm tired and I don't want to walk anymore. I run myself to the opposite side till I can find what it is that I've been looking for. In the middle of the night,
In the middle of the night,
I go walking in my sleep.
I go walking in my sleep.
Through the jungle of doubt.
Through the jungle of doubt.
To a river so deep.
To the river so deep.
I know I'm searching for something.
Searching for something.
Something so undefined.
Something undefined.
That it can only be seen.
That can only be seen.
By the eyes of the blind.
By the eyes of the blind.
In the middle of the night. I'm not sure about the life after this, but God knows I've never been a spiritual girl. Baptized by the fire, I wade into the river that is running to the promised land. In the middle of the night,
In the middle of the night,
I go walking in my sleep.
I go walking in my sleep.
Through the refuge of the truth.
To the desert of truth.
To the river so deep.
To the river so deep.
We all end in the ocean.
End in the ocean.
We all start in the streams.
Start in the streams.
We're all carried along.
Carried along.
By the river of dreams.
By the river of dreams.
In the middle of the night.
I go walking in the middle of the, 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 I go walking in the middle of the night.